declining margins in the rice industry through the years, the crawfish has not only supplemented it, but helped agriculture thrive.
In warm waters during warm weather seasons, crawfish can be found in all southern U.S. states. States including Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Carolinas produce small amounts of farmed crawfish for human consumption. However, Louisiana is by far the country's top producer of crawfish. Today, we are going to discuss how the Louisiana company is contributing to 90% of total crawfish in the US. Every day, this company brings in 60,000 pounds of crawfish. The moment they exit the sea, time begins to run out. Farmers only have a limited amount of time to get them weighed, sold, and placed in refrigerators. Additionally, these tiny creatures have to survive the entire period. Since it begins breaking things down quickly once they are dead, they will deteriorate and become mushy. For Louisiana, these crabs represent a sizable industry. They end up all across the US and contribute $300 million to the state's economy. However, until recent decades, this business hardly got off the ground. Some rice farmers took a huge risk in the 1980s. They tried growing the crawfish that inhabited the soil beneath their fields, and it worked. Madison McIntyre has become one of the state's largest crawfish businesses in just 9 years, handling up to 4 million pounds annually. It was never our intention, nor did I ever think it would reach this point. It came about naturally, Madison McIntyre said. In late September and early October, hungry crawfish come out of their burrows. He can begin catching them in lines of traps by November. Even so, it took until the 1980s for crawfish to really take off. Profits from rice farmers were declining. They therefore took a major risk and raised crawfish alongside the grain in search of another source of revenue. Jim Johnson, a fourth-generation rice farmer, was one of them. There's hardly any vegetation to pair with crawfish that is a better match. Together, it just blends nearly perfectly, Jim said. The rice plant serves as a wetland for crawfish spawning, offers shelter from the sun, and is home to a variety of microscopic species, including worms, algae, and larvae. These will serve as food for the crawfish. The fields are then fertilized by the crawfish waste, and the two crop seasons coincide nicely. The crawfish have safely submerged themselves deep into the mud by the time farmers harvest the rice. Crawfish emerge from their tunnels with babies after the rice is harvested. They are ready to be picked and eaten by the winter. Soon, consumers from Texas to South Carolina started snatching up the mudbugs. More than half of Jim's business now comes from what was once merely a neighborhood restaurant. Today, crops play a significant role in the economies of places like Welch, Louisiana. Within a 35-mile radius of this location, crawfish are cultivated nationwide. Rice farmers wind up with tons of crawfish, piled into sacks like these from November to July. These will be loaded onto trucks by Junior and his crew before being taken to the crawfish dock. For their catch, rice farmers in Madison receive roughly $1.25 per pound. He's not a farmer like the majority of crawfish vendors. He began selling them out of his vehicle in New Orleans in 2014 with the help of his friend Charlie. Because of its success, he expanded by purchasing other trucks and establishing Parish Seafood Wholesale as a full-fledged business. In contrast to many crawfish businesses, Madison and his dog, June, handle every aspect of the process. He buys from 36 other rice growers in addition to growing his own crawfish. In order to avoid intermediaries, he also owns a business that hauls the catch, a processing facility, and eateries. They must exercise caution because they could bite them, which would be painful. They have to keep an eye on their fingers, in addition to keeping an eye out for runaways, because they are skilled escape artists. Crawfish need to be placed in coolers as soon as they are cleaned in order to remain alive till being sold. Although it's not always simple, Madison aims to transport the higher grade, larger crawfish within 12 to 24 hours. Everything is essentially done over a handshake. No contracts are in place. They must exercise caution since after buying all of your crawfish at the start of the season, customers may decide to go to another supplier as soon as the catch picks up. He finds it simpler to move the smaller, low-quality crawfish because Madison only sells it to himself. The tail meat is then processed at his Brio Bridge facility. The crawfish are being unloaded off by workers. For generations, crawfish has played a significant role in southern Louisiana culture. The Houma indigenous people took their name from the term for crawfish and used it as a battle sign, according to the Native Heritage Project. They are reconstructing a new facility that will be dedicated to air freight crawfish. But there have been obstacles in the way of his accomplishment. Many people attempted to profit from the industry's growth during the past 20 years. Crawfish farms in the state have increased by 2019. Inflation followed after that. Costs, according to Madison, increased 40%. He spent $150,000 more on petrol last year than usual. That much money would have been the profit. 95% of his employees have visas to work in the US. He had to take care of finding them housing and making travel arrangements. According to Madison, he pays them just about $14 per hour, which is nearly twice the minimum wage. Additionally, they will work 15 and 18-hour days every day of the week. Therefore, it's highly demanding. Throughout the season, they don't get to visit their family as frequently. Dozens of Louisiana crawfish businesses have had to shut down due to high operating costs and low profitability. Due to the competitive nature of the business, those who entered only to participate in get-rich-quick schemes are currently failing. Madison believes that the magnitude of his business has kept him afloat. Madison claimed that Parish Seafood Wholesale made $500,000 last year. However, he only received a $20,000 paycheck. Additionally, he claims that he returned more than 80% of the proceeds to the business. Therefore, they have backups for everything in case something malfunctions or the coolers stop working. They have spare vehicles, ice makers, freezers, and coolers available. They have numerous forklifts, all of which are extras. Madison must struggle to preserve each crawfish's life in a sector where one bad season might force a business out of existence. Because there will only be a small number of individuals working in this profession in the next 5 to 6 years, it will once again be very lucrative. That's all about today's video. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the notification bell to get informed by our upcoming videos.